we may not have time to learn all those things, but we better to learn at least one tantra that may be important in our life, so we can do that. Yeah. So before that, there is a very short text. Did you have time to look at the text in English version? It's kind of nice, summarize everything if we can figure out. At the same time, of course, it's talking about not only tantras, but sutras and pramanas, and pramana means valid cognition, what we can rely on and what we cannot rely on, these things. And so all sort of things that yes, we can learn. So today I was thinking we can chant together these texts, but since we just come back from GBI and we chant every day these together. But today, Chenru, you say you can lead.
I think Sandra just shared the first few pages with me. Since we don't actually go over the entire prayer at the opening, I think I have the pages needed.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Just one moment.
Just here, maybe then we can.
Yes.
I can chant today, and then you can, because Zoom we cannot chant together. That's
okay. Give me 1 second.
okay.
I need to open the document. Sorry. Should be just the first page, right?
What text are you looking for?
I have it on. Just give
The
me
GBI, we have chant this everything.
I think it's this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I will mute myself.
Could have the next page. There's 2 lines. No.
Okay, I will pull it up, but because
Okay.
it's the photo, so you go ahead and I will stop and then restart.
Yeah. With start with the Laman Chen. Laman Chen, usually Laman Chen no, and we chant, but GBI I think didn't chant no. Laman Chen no, Laman Chen no, Laman Chen no. Nhưng với thế bệ cơ sở ne chấp chế chân chân la ma ya la xin. Lê đàn nhom mô tra bố ser va ye ga wa ngam ba da la jo bê cher. One more. Chế wo de chen ko lu jen de jo chen dan xin xin gun jong. Maybe today we stop there, then next time we can chant through. This is from preliminary practice of the Longchen Yingtek Lama, calling Lama from far. And there's a much longer one, but we can chant together later. And here, of course, then what we chant together, another thing, we usually chant the Manjushri one together, if you have that.
James.
Just give me a moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have these chantings, but that's patient is practice here. So don't rush. Okay, I chant maybe. Today's I'm okay. Lama dang gombo je zun jambe yang lai chan za lo gange lo ru jem yin dun da nye da nam da rab zai we xin yi deng ge yi yin zui je ni je do ga ling wang zin Kanda zebe zara mare mentong dung ai ji se we rozo gung la pe ye dar ze yen la zhu ye yang den song zhu da re che ro nyong mo ni la li ji jiao ro zhun ze jing Ma re men se dong re nyu gu yin yi jun zi ra zhi na. Du ne da jen sa jun dar song yu den lun zo jar se to ko. Ju chai ju dang jun yi jen de da lu men se jan be yang lan du. Marabadana dina marabadana dina marabadana. This is the mantra for Manjushriya. You can chant with last D many times as possible. Om Arabadana. You can do counting 100 mala, 200 mala in one breath, or 300 in one breath. That is how we usually do. So we can go next few lines. Omra Badzana de Zaden Jin Chenra Vazre Dalu Demu Membarabzane Gadan Denju Chunlu Doba Lodru Bobe No Zardu So. Okay, concept overendo bam jungzi driverendo nayang gombo jamyang chuni ne kingmi baryang tongwer show. Okay, that's how we chant that Manjushri chanting. I think before we go into the text, I have received a request from, I think he's from England. Someone say he's long time practitioner and listen my teachings. And in the GBI, we couldn't finish these Vajra verses by Jigme Lingpa. And he's asking me to teach that. Do you remember this a small booklet that has this small book? The half is Vajra verses. If we do that, maybe we do after these texts, if you want, or you don't want to hear that part, then I can ask, or this person kind of privately, maybe that's another possible. And I try to introduce these texts many people, but sometimes it's hard to tell. It's these texts is sort of or these texts relevant to others' practice or not? Couldn't tell sometimes. Many years later, then they say, what is Vajra verses? I never heard of, and then I thought, okay, then we can read something else. So it's never know. That's one thing, and that's too much talk. Let me know. What do you think? Should we go these texts
Yes,
after these texts? So, but
Yes,
these only
please.
these two texts that when I first met Garche Rinpoche, he said these two are very important and very helpful for practitioners, and that's why for many years he's keep these two texts to promoting, and now it's formed both English, Chinese, and also getting teachings of that. So that's one thing. And then our text. What do you think? Do you have any questions before? These classes should be not only one way I'm teaching, preaching, but it's more conversational is better. I think if you read this English, what is the challenge and what is easy and relevant? Do you find any helpful phrases or anything? Okay. So these texts, what we call is the sword of the wisdom for thoroughly asserting reality. When I learned these texts for me was very useful because there is how we can approach a teaching, Buddhist teaching, to understand. And in order to understand that, there is a reality, ultimate reality. And that's maybe not access to us. We need to figure out to get that. And the purpose these texts is making us language tool, or even more how to approach text, such texts. It's not talking about only one text, but any Buddhist text that when we learn, we need to learn thoroughly to get the meaning. That's why it's called the Ascertaining the reality. The Tibetan reality is more like meaning here, but English seems reality translation comes reality is here. So up to you. It really meaning how to get the meaning of the text, the teaching any text that wanted to learn. And we know wisdom. Wisdom is another tool. In the Tibetan, we call Shera. Shera means the best knowledge, wisdom means. And of course, when we use 6 paramitas here, or 6 perfections, or 6, the wisdom paramita of perfection of wisdom is the 6th paramita. That's all Buddhist teachings involve through sutras, tantras, and chant, dzogchen, or Zen, or dzogchen is talking about the 6th paramita. That is the the perfection of wisdom. And in Tibet, we have a few words that sometimes we call Yeshi. That's my name, you kind of know, but don't know the meaning. The Yeshi is Yeshi and wisdom. Sometimes people translate this wisdom for Yeshi or Sherab or both sometimes used as wisdom, but seems there's a little bit slight different between these two. Yeshi Ye means primordially, Xie means knowing. People translate primordially knowing or primordial knowing. That's this wisdom is nothing to do with objects. It's already kind of knower that always there. Is that both Dzogchen, Zen, and focusing on this particular subject. And then so these wisdom, sometimes wisdom, when we say wisdom is a good best knowledge. Knowledge sometimes is kind of concept has a dual concept, subject and object. So you have good knowledge of knowing something that. So that's why people sometimes use this wisdom is we can utilize because 6 paramitas we can practice. When it comes to wisdom, then I translate in English gnosis, gnosis, no, that, or you use primordial knowing, whatever that is. That is a sort of a reality, and it's whether we are here or we are going to practice or become Buddha, never change. It's always there. But wisdom can increase or decrease the knowledge, the good or bad knowledges. Increase, decrease, depend on the practice, understanding, and so forth. Yeah. So these here, these wisdom can ascertain the meaning of what. There is probably a lot of meanings, and when we talk about meanings, the conventional truth has meaning, ultimate truth has meaning, and our life is meaning. We in a GBI we have a funny conversation on what meaning of our life. Do we have our life have meaning or not? It's an interesting question, and I didn't want to say our life is meaningless, but somehow come up in my mouth, and then I need to say if you can make meaning, but mainly our life is meaningless, kind of. But that's the good thing is we can make meaning, but meaning is not given. So that is also maybe important to know the meaning. What does meaning mean here? So English not really reflect the Tibetan. The Tibetan has a meaning, the ascertaining the meaning. The meaning changes. Yeah, then it's difficult to pinpoint. But once English use a reality, then reality is it's also there. People are talking about there's many truths, many realities. I had a difficult time to communicate and translate some Tibetan texts that should we use truth or reality or meaning, or it's every one of these words doesn't really have have one meaning, meaning there's maybe multiple truths, there's multiple meanings, there's multiple realities. So if all these are could interpret in a different way to different context or different person, then it's a little bit difficult to say what meaning is, what's true reality, or what truth is. However, so mainly the Buddhist teachings are either we call Four Noble Truth or True Truth, the conventional truth and ultimate truth. These two are mainly take care of all the categories. Later in these texts talks about these sort of, there's two systems to deal with true truths. True truth means maybe this is the most important part of these texts because until Mipham Rinpoche, so Mipham Rinpoche is the writer, author here. He's writing these texts, and he's focusing on these. In Tibet, we have we call these appearances are conventional truths, and then the conventional truth means it's not really exist. So then behind or beyond that, we need to find ultimate truth. What is ultimate truth is not finding anything that exists. So that is called ultimate truth. So that is sort of simple. These are important in a reality for practice because the whole sole purpose of the Buddhist teaching or practice is trying to get rid of something. What we are get rid of is more self-clinging and clinging on anything. And in order to get rid of that, first we need to know what is the object of self-clinging. And that is, of course, then goes to the self. And then what is self is the question. And the self is a fictional character that mainly we build from mistake or confusion or ignorance or whatever we talk about the beginnings what we are talking about. Maybe today I was working on this particularly text that talks about these conditions or four conditions that cause us to how we kind of involve in a samsaric situation. So maybe next meeting I can share with you that part, and that may be helpful. And so the full purpose of that, but then it comes this is kind of straightforward. It's the existing things, what you think appearances called conventional truths. If we are clinging on that, very much we are in a samsara. And we need to go beyond samsara. And in order to do that, then we need to know these stuff, what we see is like a dream, never be there. And in order to know that, then we need to know these two systems, that conventional truth and ultimate truth. That's one way of talking about. And then the other way of talking about, there's two truths. One truth is when we say Buddha nature, and when we meditate on the deities, visualize, and wisdoms, and all the qualities that the Buddha qualities, what do we talk about? it must be exist in their own way. If nothing exists, then it's nothing increase, nothing decrease. This is probably sometimes new to you. We need to think about that. And then here is this true truth, the system of truth. The early one is easy. Appearances is conventional truth. Emptiness is ultimate truth. But here is ultimate truth is when you become a Buddha or high level Bodhisattva, see Buddha qualities, visions, and so forth. It should be there to see. If not, then we are seeing just mirage and same thing. That is a sort of tantric base practice, and these two truths are different. And things you see and things that see as exist is called ultimate truth. Things you see but it's not exist as you see is called conventional truth. For example, in a dream we may see something, but that's not exist there. And in a sense of our life, we see something that hanging a tanka on the wall. Maybe that's there. It appears what you see. So these two are sort of distinct system that will help us to learn tantric materials and tantric practices, and also it sort of help us to understand also sutric emptiness and appearances, how these things can treat differently. So those are we are going to learn in order to do that, because these are all, when we say true truth means truth for whom, yeah, truth for person, and truth for person means then it involves people's judgment. That's why view or belief is very, very important, and that is sort of fundamentally a base, fundamental base for the practice. And if we read in English, 1 minute, I can pull out the English maybe, or you can. Yeah, here what we have can make a little bit larger maybe, or I can make it.
Is it better?
Yes.
Okay.
And here's by Mipham Rinpoche. We probably everyone now know Mipham Rinpoche is a very prolific writer, and his collections 32 are getting growing, but 32 volumes, and variety of writings, commentaries, and sadhanas, and all the treaties, and supplications, and aspiration prayers, and you can see many. And this is not that early. We heard, if probably anyone know Tinggon Khyentse Rinpoche. Tinggon Khyentse is the most famous teacher in our life, in exile Nepal and India. He's one of the famous teacher in the Nyingma and the Gaju. And also he's teacher of the His Holiness Dalai Lama, 14th Dalai Lama, and so forth. And I heard that when Tingo Khyentse Rinpoche was a small child, probably infant, maybe, Mipham Rinpoche blessed his tongue, and people believe that that's why he's so knowledgeable and so gracious practitioner and chief. So I realized Lama in this 20th century. And so that's Mipham Rinpoche, so means it's not that long ago, probably 100 some years ago, yeah. And he wrote these texts, what I said earlier. It's more like tool to understand the text if we want to learn further either sutric or tantric texts. And the first verse, you have not the slightest confusion about philosophy, and what completely abandoned very false. Your mind has no doubt about the 3 points. Before Manjushri, the tertiary of wisdom, I bow. And here we use our philosophy, sometimes Chinese system. The philosophy means, in the Buddhist sense of philosophy, of course, here means philosophy means a belief system. That belief system we have, of course, sometimes 9 yanas and many vehicles that yana or vehicles we talk about. And Trumta usually in Tibet means tenet system that based on, they have own view, meditation, conduct based on that. And mainly we have in a sutric level, we have, of course, more Theravadan or Hinayana tradition, we have two, and then comes to Mahayana, we have mainly two major things that Madhyamika and Yogacara, they call. Madhyamika means talks about the middle way. That's of course, that's need to say carefully, yeah, because what does middle mean? Middle is middle or not? Probably not, yeah. If once we took a position in the middle, then it's not middle way. But that's we trying to learn few years in the past. A few of you in that or more than few, most of you in that discussion. So we know that philosophy. And then Yogacara means people practice yoga. And yoga means realizing the nature. And this system then believe something that mind is more important. Mind can create things, external things, not necessarily there to show us, but mainly everything is probably we project things rather than external things arise to us, like dream. And you can see from both of these point of view, the target is mainly we need to know the reality. And reality is nothing to do with appearance. And in order to get rid of appearance, and then we need to analyze how these things arise. And that is here. And then if you look at the 3 points in here, if 3 points, usually we have this here used as point, but again, this is Tibetan is a turn. Earlier in the title, they translate a turn as a reality, but here they translate Adam, I think Adam Priest translate as a point. So 3 modes of valid references. And usually modes or the valid references means when you see directly, you see the meaning that's not hidden. So a direct perception can understand the meaning of the what you see directly you are seeing. Then if you cannot see, but you can use a reference or the logic or some signs to see what is there, is called inference that can use to see meaning. And then sometimes we cannot see things, and we cannot logically we cannot maybe access. Then we may need to use Buddha's teachings to reveal, or Lama's instructions to reveal. So our mind nature is maybe one of them that is beyond world and word and thoughts, which means concept cannot use, words cannot pinpoint. Then we need to trust, trust to gain the meaning. So these 3 points is, you can see commentaries is a little bit slightly different, but mainly there is either obvious one or non-obvious one, and beyond our concept. So Buddha or Manjushri knows all. Yeah, that's the idea. So here's 3 points rather than meanings. Seems here's meaning is better than points. However, and then the profound, vast, and difficult to realize. It's nectar-like teaching of Sukhatas to those who long to taste it. I hear grant the light of intelligence. Manjushri or Mipham Rinpoche's main deity is Manjushri. We heard a little bit from Gato Rinpoche Chemo in his teachings, how important Manjushri for him, Mipham Rinpoche, and so forth. And here, since these truth profound, vast, and difficult to realize, but here's Tibetans could read these profound and vast are difficult to realize. Both the profound and the vast. It's not difficult part. It's another difficult part. Mhm. Profound, vast, and difficult to realize is the nectar-like teaching of the Sugata. I think this is maybe English is a little bit awkward. Difficult to realize is the nectar-like teaching of Sugatas. I think here is the Tibetans more like the profound and vast are the difficult to realize. But in the Buddha's teaching, it teaches like a nectar. So this teaching revealed these profound and vast that are difficult to realize. We talk about the profound, what profound mean, James, since you raised.
Kempo, I'm just wondering if you'd like to see the other translations.
I'm a little bit here shorthanded. Do you have a can you show us? Yeah, I think we can use this is better. I was caught in a busy situation. The teachings of Skadas, profound advice and difficult to realize. Another same. The profound advice difficult to penetrate. So they use these two. This seems categorizing three things. Yeah, is that English? Everyone?
Yeah, I would read it as they're saying the nectar-like teaching of the Sugatas has three qualities. They're profound, they're vast, and they're difficult to realize. By this English.
It's mainly more like the nectar-like teachings of Sukadas. It teaches this profound words, which
Yes.
is difficult to understand.
I agree.
Yeah, I think I agree with Kempo's the nectar teachings of the Sugatas is profound, vast, and so forth, and difficult to realize.
You say and?
Profound, vast, and difficult to realize?
I think Tokawa is modifying Sabjinjachi.
Oh yeah.
The profound and vast are difficult to understand, difficult to realize.
Okay. Sorry, we just transitioned to inside, so maybe we missed a little section.
Oh, sorry. Okay. And this duty that whoever wants to sort of taste, then Mipham Rinpoche, he say, well, I will give this light of intelligence or Lodu. Lodu is another term that we often use as this Lodu. So these usually these two verses. One is called the praising to the deity, and then the second one is the Tsumba Tamjawa, which means pledge to compose the text. And then actual text is coming. Subject and here, the Dharma taught by Buddha depend entirely upon the two levels of truth. The relative truth of the mundane and the truth of the ultimate meaning. And you can see here, earlier we talked about there's two truths. These are kind of tool that lead us to understand the actual meaning. And Dharma here is talking about the teaching that taught by Buddha. Yeah, so Dharma has 10 meanings, but here is more talk about the teaching. So that's why maybe you have this capital letter D. And when Buddha teaches, then need to deal with these two truths. Two truths are very important from beginning to all the way to great perfection and Mahamudra. But sometimes you can hear from me that two truths is a big problem, but at least we now need to keep this system for a while until we don't need that. Yeah, but that's a kind of tool. And so every teaching is relying on two truths. That is what we want to say here. If true truth, then there's true truths, then ultimate truth and relative truth. The relative truth is called mundane or yiktan, the worldly thing. And the ultimate truth is called the ultimate meaning or Demba turn. So here we see Tibetan term turn 3 times already, but each time use different English. First one was reality, second one was topic, and here is meaning. And the main thing sometimes people are caught in the two truths that need to treat two truths equally and so forth. So maybe that's a little bit risky to treating two truths equally because one is reliable and one is not reliable. If you treat two truths equally, then you are not really relying on reliable things. Yeah, that's a logic, maybe. Any questions?
Kempo,
Drink a tea. Yes.
I have a question. Hang on, I'm trying to get my system set up here. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I've been very, very sick. So
Good to see you.
good to see you too. You mentioned in the beginning something that Even as somebody who,
Is your qualities of the sound
you
is
hear me?
too good somehow?
Almost like you
Good.
have connection issues.
Okay. Yeah.
Is this mic better?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I can use this one. I thought when you started, you mentioned that Mipham Rinpoche has two ways that he
Yeah.
talks about the two truths.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with that only very recently, actually, and I wondered if other people also were familiar with that. I couldn't really detect in his text when he makes that distinction. Is that something that will become evident as we go through?
That will come. That people should focus do you mean in our text?
Well, at the very least, I thought it would be a good point to bring up that's just in case people don't know, there are these two ways of talking about the two truths, and one is a way we're very familiar with, where we call relative appearances, or the relative truth appearances, and the ultimate truth emptiness. But the second way that Mipham talks about it, I think, is less well known, where he
Yeah.
says relative truth is when the mode of appearance and the mode of being agree, and or that's ultimate truth, and relative truth is when the mode of appearance and the mode of being do not agree.
Yes, and that's Mipham's unique teaching, and
And also that seems to, does that go together with his, he seems to have a unique version of pramana where he talks about pure perceptions that I think goes to how he bridges between sutra and tantra, and I wondered if those two were related.
yeah, I think it's related because in order to bring what exists is there, what the qualities of Buddha, it's should be there. If not there, then means it's a flower in space,
In the sky,
in
right?
sky, space, and that will not benefit to anyone. And if you look at verse 54, he's
Right.
here, even 55 is say there, if there is let's say without the two kind of conventional valid cognition, pure vision would not.
Right. What I understand him saying is if there's only two truths, then you have to take these experiences of bodhisattvas and say they're still all relative truth. There's nothing that can encapsulate like the pure experiences of these bodhisattvas on the bhumis.
Yeah. So we will learn that that's helpful for context understanding. It's that's what we are for life is doing, practicing and things that is
Right.
nothing is reliable vision and so forth, deities and mantras, and then it's a little bit difficult to say what we are doing here. So that's why it's helpful for the practitioners, and we will go through those later, but will come because once
Okay.
we understand these appearance and emptiness are the ultimate truth and relative truth clearly, then we also need to distinct even in a appearances, then we can distinguish. There's two types of sort of
Right.
appearances. Yeah.
Okay, so you introduced that Mipham hasn't introduced that yet. You just mentioned it as you were introducing us to Mipham's view.
Yes.
Okay. And so people should know the other, I don't know if you picked up on it, if everyone listening picked up on it, but Kempo is showing us that Mipham has a unique way of looking at the two truths. He has two different frameworks for how he classifies it. And so we've been briefly introduced. Thank you, Kempo.
Yeah, I'm saying these texts is helpful for us to go to that territory that maybe normally you would not hear from other teachings, other texts, or other things, but these particular short texts emphasize on that. So
I
I
understand now.
just bring up in front one thing that we could focus on, and also important in a process of learning. If you understand this way, then there's another tool to not just stuck in the either it's empty, nothing, or appearance something.
I see.
But there's nuances between that our practice involves the deities, mantras, wisdoms, and infused with either we call lightened qualities or awakened qualities, Buddha bodies, and in Treasury of Dharma that we have there's 5 bodies, 5 wisdoms, 5 activities, and so forth. These 25 qualities of Buddhas we talk about. So then, whether you can accept or not is another level. I think we can deal with that. Could be later. And now the verse we can go through one by one. Yeah. So here you can see there's two truths. True truth, whether we are talking about this emptiness is apparent, emptiness is ultimate truth, and appearances conventional truth, or appearances that appears as what exists as pure visions, that is ultimate truth, and the falsely appearing things that is conventional truth. But here it's using these, you can see one must cultivate the excellent vision. If one is to apply an unvarying and certain mind, the true nature of these true truths, one must cultivate the excellent vision of the two flawless valid cognitions. The two flawless valid cognition, we often talking about the view, yeah? What does view mean? So view means validly sort of understanding or realize. So one must cultivate the excellent vision. Here is a vision, but Tibetan is a mik. Excellent sight or vision that of the two flawless valid cognitions. What those two are? Two are the two system, or what we are talking already about, or the two ultimate and conventional truths that knowing or understanding the valid cognition that we need to build up. And here he goes with the first system. First system, what we have appearances is more conventional, and ultimately there's nothing exists here. These appearances in all their rich variety arise through dependent origination. Something that is truly independent, like a lotus in the sky, will not appear. It's not saying the lotus that you can bring in the sky is not appearing. It's saying that lotus cannot born out of the sky. And of course, whenever we talk about some conventional truths, then it comes up with causal relationship, interdependent origination or dependent origination. That's the main part. What interdependent or dependent origination give us that the cause and condition and result does not necessarily pre-exist to produce any result. So that is the main function of that. Sometimes people misunderstand the dependent origination is more talking about how things exist, or this must exist, therefore depend on. Here is more dependent origination is function as appearing things, but doesn't necessarily it has on nature. So that's one thing. Next one. And he used these four logics. Four logics we can see one by one here. It is a complete gathering of causes that function to bring about the effect. All effects whatsoever they may be depend upon their own particular causes. So here in the Tibet we have Ju Xiaowa Xiba and Riu Doba. So the logic is the cause function to act, to produce something. That's the nature of cause. And the result or the fruit need to rely on or depend on the cause. That's still another logic. So this causal relationship has two logics those are four logics of this, the principle of causal efficacy, or the efficacy here by using that the Tibetan really don't have efficacy, but it's the cause that acts to sort of work on the result, and the results need to depend on the cause. And then we have two more, the principle of nature, or these are coming. It is by knowing what is or what is not the case in terms of cause and their effects, that we pursue one thing and avoid another, whether it's crabs in a philosophy. And so the kind of summary that then we understand what is cause, function of cause, and what is the result of nature of the result. If we know that all causes are act, and all results are depend on the cause, then we know what is relevant to pursue thing, because every cause has consequence, which means that's why we say Buddhist practice is preventing negative actions. The actions are cause. And so knowing these cause and results are related to each other, whatever we do, it impacts the result, then we know that we cannot do negative actions because it produces the negative karma. And from there, then we know more philosophy or the nature of the what in this world, what we should do, what we should not do, because even farmers or everyone know that what cause will impact if there's no. Even we know that if there's not enough water, then we need to irrigate waters to bring the crops and so forth. So knowing this philosophy means people will understand what to do. If you know the cause and effect, laws of cause and karmic causality, or what they call karma and cause relationship, and then people would know better. And then they all have this as their starting point, or that is the root of everything. Whether we calculate based on what cause will produce what kind of effect, and these four words is depend on that kind of causal relationship. These include not only the worldly disciplines, but also the trainings that transcends the world. All phenomena risen in a mutual dependence. So these not only the worldly things, what we should do and what kind of act we should care about, but beyond the worldly things, in order to become a Buddhahood, then Four Noble Truth is based on causal relationship. Yeah, it's the samsaric cause and effect or result is recognizing suffering is the result of samsara. Discarding or abandoning the cause of suffering is the cause, which is ignorant. So this is samsaric causality, and then the nirvana, peace, is the result of nirvana. And in order to get there, we need to practice the path. So that is cause to result. And naturally possess their own particular characteristics which are equally, uniquely theirs. The plain and simple facts of the conventional solidity, fluidity, warmth, and so on are incontestable, contestable. So this is the third logic, third logic, which means all nature has on. Fire has heat, water has liquidity, fluidity, or and so forth. So these are whether we like or not, we cannot change. Each dharma has naturally possess their own particular characteristics. Every dharma, so that we cannot change or we cannot argue to make fire is liquid or water is fire. That kind of logic. So once we talking about this logic also implies that showing that the ultimate reality is whether we are here or not, we cannot change that reality. Okay. Anyone want to add anything?
So that's
What?
not necessarily a logic, it's more like law.
Yeah, a logic should be match with the law. So that's why it's called logic, usually. Logic means makes sense, yeah. Trying to say, making sense. If doesn't make sense, means not good logic. But however, people always argue based on what their belief, and it's difficult to have agreed on many subjects, but still trying to saying its logic is should be matched with the reality, which means nature. Yeah.
Argue on their emotions.
Yeah, I'm not, I always think of logics as it involves reasoning. But I wonder if something that is arbitrary, that is incontestable, it's just something, it is what it is, if that is logic or not, but maybe just I'm understanding the word differently, but yeah.
Well, did
So-
it say arbitrary?
The text, the verses are incontestable, right? So
You can't disagree with it.
right, so that means that's why I use that's like the law of things. So it's more arbitrary, not in the sense that it was assigned by a dictator, but it's like it is what it is, like that's what I meant.
Got it.
Yeah, here we have a little bit different system here. In the Madhyamikas, the Pramanas, we talk more about logic is syllogism, yeah. The syllogism you can formulate and you can probably, if you go to Gelupa system, training system, they say, if you can make truth untruth and untruth truth, that's means you have really trained well in a logic. But here, yeah, you're right. It's talking about more like nature. But then the actual logic should be matched with the logically means should make sense. Yeah, it's not just the syllogism formulates that makes other people discomfort. That is not the purpose of here. If you have tea, just bring tea. So anyone has find any useful thing so far, or still fishing in English text? And there's anything that yeah, I think say truthness, Sandra. Yeah, there's a few ways of of explaining, yeah. How we explain when talk about cause and effect or result. There's something going on, relationship. Or how, almost like how best way we can explain cause. Sensibly. Maybe the cause has only function of producing something. That's why English translate as efficacy. That's almost like guaranteed to give the result. But Tibetan is not really guaranteed. It's the cause acts, and then the result depend on that. So there's no guarantee, but it sometimes then there would be somehow we need to get rid of the ignorant, yeah. If that is the cause, efficacy then means guaranteed to giving result, then but that would need to stop there. So Tibetan is more like a cause act, but whether can produce or not, it's not necessarily 100% guarantee. However, the results, if there is a result, then need to rely on the cause. Yes, James?
Most of the texts, they do say unerring cause and result. Like if the causes and conditions are there, the result must be produced. So it seems like they do guarantee it.
Yeah, no, but then as we were talking about cause and effect, somehow, do you remember our conversation about the water rat and how memory is all speculation, right? And we kind of talk about you never know the poisonous effect actually comes from the bite. It's just we kind of associate, oh, now I'm sick. It must be because I got bit 6 months ago. So that's where I'm thinking the whole cause and effect, it's so relative because it's almost like, oh, because it happened, if you throw a piece of rock at someone, someone will get hurt, and it happened 99 times, and we just say, oh, that's true. There is some kind of a relationship between these two incidents. But then, not to say the person didn't get hurt, right? But then at the same time, how do we know it's not our speculation? It's not, we are just making some association, we're being delusional again.
Well, right. All I'm saying though is that at least according to the sutras are crystal clear. There is no room for doubt. Karmic cause and effect functions unerringly, right?
Yeah, but and these texts will come. All necessary causes are there, are present. Then it gives the result. It's not just the cause. And we can burn the seeds, yeah. It would not produce sprout.
Right. Or you might not have water and then you won't get the sprout.
Yeah, and there's all the conditions of the causes are there, then could produce. Yeah.
Well, then you must produce.
Yes, a kind of mass. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not any cause. Yeah, we can put the seeds 1,000 years in a dry drawer and never produce any sprouts. So the cause is interesting act. And then we can get rid of the cause, yeah? That's another thing. If not, we will not get enlightenment. That's one thing.
doesn't something become a cause dependent on the result? Like there are two parts of the same thing. If there's no result, then obviously that wasn't a cause, because something can't be a cause unless there's a result. So it seems those two have to go together. You know, if there's no result, then obviously that wasn't a cause. It was something else.
Exactly. That's if you burn the seeds, then there would not have result. Then there's no result. Therefore, we could say logically, there's no result. Therefore, this seed is not the cause. And there is two interdependence they talk about. Danichewa, they call Danichewa means the take birth rely on something. Means the results are depend on the cause. That's why the karma is always we're talking about previous karma. What we get now is previous karma, and that's totally rely on what our body and the mind and physical things depend on that karma. But then what you are saying is also another one. When we say result, it means there are cause. Without cause, we would not say result either. And these called just imputing based on two things. We can say day and night, and that side of the river and this side of the river, or any kind of dichotomy that contrasts, to dark and light, and so forth. So these are what these two ways of talking about the interdependent, how to depend on. It's just nothing to do with really causal relationship, but it's still we would not say if there is no West Coast, then there would not have East Coast, yeah?
So it's more like just linguistically speaking,
Yeah,
just to put things, to give them a label.
yeah, it's called labeling, depend on labeling. So sometimes causal relationships are also relate with that as well, because we can call in that way. Okay, we can go a little bit further, maybe. But now some terms that sometimes difficult to explain or is not familiar with. It's maybe a kind of tedious things, and but if you can stick with us for a while, maybe it's worth going through these. But if you really think this doesn't make any sense, then maybe you don't want to spend too much time on this text. But we see. Up to you. Even just a single thing has countless properties and can be classified in infinite ways based on affirmation and negation. These are the natural feature of the things itself. So our language is as good with two things. We can make a statement that affirmation or negation. And then sometimes these is very technical term in India called apoha. Apoha means if you think about one thing, this is my eyeglass cleaner thing, this one, maybe. But sometimes people think it's we can say countlessly, this item is not car, not horse, not car, not space, not. So almost any way you can think of, say, it's not. But also can say this item is something, yeah. So in even single one thing, you can do this until exhausted your thoughts. But sometimes people think really this item is kind of reverse from all the other items in order to become this by itself. They need to distinct from every others, yeah. And so that's think about it. It's not really wasting thinking, but how our thoughts and terms comes together to isolate the one thing that we can identify as an object, individual object itself. So that's do we need to negate every single one of them to become these objects, or we just kind of approach these objects, but still need to distinct from others? As that is here is more like talking about even just a single thing has countless properties. Here used as a property because since there's something in there, and can be classified in an infinite way. How? Based on the affirmation and negation of that. These are the nature feature of the things itself. Seems like everything is out there, but it's mainly talking about how our mind functions and identify things and how to negate things. These are based, if we know these, then we are knowing more how our conscious works, yeah. It's not, so when we talk about these, seems like objects itself has some qualities and some properties, and then thing itself and so forth. But its reality is more how we think. But also it's tricky because without negating every other objects or property on one thing, how we can how we can identify that objects. Think about that. And an object that is perceived clearly and directly has properties that are seen separate and distinct. But these distinctions are mental designations. Distinguish and engage with the conceptual mind. So it's saying here is also, we can talk about the reverse part of the stopa. What we have in English with an object that perceived clearly and directly has properties that seem separate and distinct. These distinctions are male designations. Distinguish and engage with the conceptual mind. I think in English is cannot or not reflect Tibetan. The Dokpa is a particular term in a Sanskrit, Sanskrit or the Tibetan, the Pramana tradition. Dokpa means if we say this item is not a car, so that property is on this item. That called Dokpa, in a particular term, means reverse from the others. Because this is not from others, not from car, but that is one property, not from computer, that is one property. It comes back to this particular item. So that's a stopper. Eric or James or anyone has better term for that?
For
The second,
Dopa? Oh, go ahead, Jay.
I
What?
was just going to say the second translation may be better.
Okay. Object of knowledge will be thoroughly understood by categorizing them
No,
into
no, sorry, Kempo, this one.
which one? Oh, sorry. Yeah. An object is through apprehended by direct perception, the conceptual mind that's which distinguish and combine, use terminology to label it as everything. Yeah, it's still this DOPA is a particular term and technical term.
Right. I think Temple is referring to through kind of the reversing aspect of Dokpa, right? Nobody's translating that in these translations.
The isolate,
It's almost like a opposition
right? The opposite or the isolate.
property of not only that. It comes back to the item itself. When we talk about 20 emptiness, yeah, it's say it's talking about this reversing or returning the opposite doesn't do not exist, because it says that the outer emptiness is the forms are emptiness, means there's no form, that the non-existence of form is contained in the emptiness, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the reverse part. Reverse part of the existing form, if reverse, then it's non-existing form, or form is not exist. So
Right.
form is non-existent, existing part of the form is that can possessed by the emptiness. So we have
Yeah,
like
I agree. This is a challenging thing to explain. It's I've never heard a great explanation of it, but basically what Kempo's trying to get at is that when our conceptual mind identifies this object, it doesn't identify it as a can. It identifies it as this is what is not can. It's like the reverse of the reverse. It's a conceptual operation. I don't think we have a good correlate for it in English, Kempo.
okay. And
It,
also that's
it,
still
it
what the
might,
early, yes.
oh yeah, there might be, it could be kind of like counterpoints, like looking at
Well,
things as like,
they usually call it an isolate. Like you have isolated this phenomena from all other phenomena that is not this phenomena. So you now
Mhm.
have the reverse. The reverse of not can is this.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when we count, then countless reverse reverse characteristics that we can
Infinite.
describe. Yeah. So how about this? If you say, what is cow? One say it's not horse. One say not yak. And one say not car. So that's every one of these characteristics is meant to be possessed by the cow. But that, of course, even here it's saying, Mipham is saying, even you see directly an object, that is also can be kind of described through many characteristics that reverse from the opposite object characteristic.
So it could be seeing, this, when we see things, truly indirectly, if we look at it from the perspective of counterpoints, like the perspective of opposites, but kind of also counterpoints, like it's triangulating what something is based on looking at taking other objects. To kind of use terms in English that we use more. So if we look at it through means of counterpoints, still these are all like mental designations and so forth.
Yeah, here is it's useful because when we say emptiness is not form, does that give full picture of what emptiness is?
No.
No, it's part of it, yeah. So that is talking about one part of the reversing of the opposite, not reverse. Is reverse or convert?
Reverse.
Yeah. And dopa means reverse. What is going to reverse that? So that's interesting. English don't have this term, I guess. So same thing. Here's Mipham Rinpoche was saying that it's directly seeing objects is different than you are describing things. If you say this cup is not a cow, it doesn't give full explanation of what this object is. But once you see it, it's different than how you describe or how you think. That's why he say the last. But these distinctions are mental designations and distinguish it and engage with the conceptual mind. It's not direct perception. Direct perception can see things directly, but mental conceptual mind can designate these all endless reverse characteristics that on the objects. So one thing is important thing is we can say emptiness is mind nature, Buddha nature, but it's still probably when we say emptiness, our losing our clarity, luminous aspect. When we say luminous, then we are losing the empty aspect. So sometimes Dokpa is almost like aspect. What kind of aspect we are talking about? So cows would have aspect that reverse from the horse.
Oh, I think maybe to add something, Kempo, I think what you're saying is that like Muslim Gini Yong Zong Dun
Mm-hmm.
Deche Dene Shantala kanla dope gone ni te namta ta de tabuchu tokche yiki cheshingchor te
Mhm.
tes kakare munson chik ane kanla dope gone te nipa drabo.
The function of direct perception means we are directly seeing things or hearing things, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That is nothing to do with mental designation, because the direct perception doesn't act as conceptually, it doesn't engage conceptually, which means that our eyes see flower, but doesn't judge whether it is beautiful or not. Is going through the concept, and that's already in our mental consciousness. So here is saying even the objects of direct perception can label these many ways to describe through the concept. It's not saying the objects of direct perception itself has function of it. Function is making by the conceptual mind. The designation is made by conceptual mind. That what you are saying, or different?
Yeah, I think with your explanation, it seems there's like another layer that is kind of present in the Tibetan that's not quite captured in the English.
Mm-hmm.
The like kind of what Mipham was saying is more that, you know, when we see things directly, then we, you know, are able to, you know, we don't have the Tibetan up right now, but when we see things directly, then we get everything. And then when we interpret things through, and Zoldi actually has some good terms, through deduction, or, you know, inferring things through looking at counterpoints or opposites,
Mm-hmm.
then which that's slightly different. It's you know, it is using kind of mental distinctions.
Yeah, and if you go back the verse 10, their term use silva. Silva is sort of apoha that negate, take out from these objects. In order the horse is not cow. The cowness on a horse is taken out, yeah, in order to become a cow. So there is endless way we can do it. When we talk about emptiness, what is emptiness? And then we can say, what is not emptiness? We need to take out what is not emptiness. And then we can take out countless things. But then if we can also reverse way to add the qualities that the emptiness is thing that not, I mean, we can use either affirmation or negation way. If affirming means emptiness is sort of nothingness, but reversing emptiness is not form, not taste, and Heart Sutra we have all negating things, yeah. So that is removing all these other qualities. But Dokpa means reverse back to those qualities.
Mhm.
So it's sometimes helpful to think about when we say Buddha nature, then we say there's aspects of Buddha nature when we talk about. When we talk about our mind is empty, means we are talking about empty aspects of mind nature. So we are maybe not fully describing the mind nature. Mind nature has more, maybe more dokpas, more selvas, and so forth. So these two are Indian pramana tradition concept, how our mind acts. And I think Westerners, we have that one time, one of teacher talking about this. Even we think about one item or atom is coming back from all the negations of every other thing. Yeah.
Not necessarily sure if it has to be, if it has to have qualities or properties involved. I think the term that James used, isolating, or Zodi's term, deducting, it's easier to understand in a way.
Yeah.
But if you say it's reversing and attributing the qualities of the opposite, as those qualities are missing on this side. Yeah, not sure, but thank you for the discussion.
Yeah, that's just sometimes we need to spend this kind of because already appearing in the text. That's why I'm give you warning that may you don't want to spend your precious time in thinking about, oh, these objects is almost coming back from every other non the opposite of the objects, then it's another way of thinking. So thinking has this process, because if not, then we really cannot pull out the identified things. That's the main point, I think. The concept is complicated, then it's all designation. But in a daily life, we normally we don't notice that the term and the actual thing we jumble together. So we are very bad situation that then people in the West, they have great clinging on the names here, more than Asians, I think. So I'm George Bush or something. So this belong to me, and then the name itself is hurts me. So if you cannot mess with names, you need to call correctly and cannot mispronounce people's names. And those are, they think name belongs to somehow jumble with the person. We don't really recognize that just resignation that talk about here. No, that's one thing. Okay, then next one.
Kempo, can I share one more comment?
Yes, please.
This is just going back to what Eric was talking about. I think because what Mipham is introducing here is two ways that our minds engage, right? Like direct perception and conceptually. And then there's two objects for that. So, for example, this translation over here says an object is thoroughly apprehended. Here, I think they're trying to get that meaning through perceived clearly and directly, because when it's a direct perception, we call that an inclusive engager. It just sees everything directly.
Yeah.
all of the qualities of it, the shape, the color, impermanence, emptiness, etc. But when the mind engages conceptually, it engages in an eliminative way. It isolates a particular aspect and only looks at that one thing. So I think it's maybe not perfectly captured in the English, Eric, but I think they were trying to get at that when it's an object of direct perception, we see it exactly as it is before the conceptual mind starts to chop it apart.
Right. I think that's the kind of the spirit of the original has kind of like a complete sentence in a way for the first line, and then it's elaborated. So yeah, kind of like what you said.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all I was adding,
also
Kempo.
showing the first engage with the direct perception, but that's the mental process that need to go through the conceptual mental consciousness. So it's not just stays there in a direct perception level. Maybe many are, but most need to process. If you see, I saw a beautiful flower, then it needed to process through that. Yeah.
And I guess we should keep in mind that Dharmakirti's definition of a concept is mixing an object with a label, right?
Yeah, the actual objects and the label. That's why I'm talking. We all have that, but I'm saying in the West, even labels and names and a person seems very very tight, and
Yes.
and birthdays and so forth. Yeah.
Yes, if this is just a can, then it's worth 5 cents. But if I say this was Kempo's can,
Yeah.
then it can become very precious.
Yeah. That's why these days art is very valuable. Yeah, because who draw it and so forth. Picasso's piece of art, if you have, then no matter what, it's few strokes would be good enough. Okay, next one then. So here's try to clarify, I think. The actual substance and what is imputed conceptually. There's two ways in which one can understand all that can be known, and many are the categories that come from further elaboration of these two. So you can see the actual objects means usually actual objects. It's really difficult to separate in a conceptual world because what does really actual objects mean? Yeah, it's actual objects is nothing to do with the concept. Maybe the philosophers have, as soon as we say this is a cup, then we are talking about through affirmation or negation, and then isolation and or this deduction of what we are talking about is what involving anyway. It's not, you know. And these two ways, then all the knowable things understand or at least conceptualize or making sense. So including emptiness, Buddha nature, mind nature, Buddhas, and everything need to go through this process in our mind. We cannot just live there, just a reaction first time, yeah? What do you think? It's okay there? And then we have next one. just so, they have their own causes, effects, natures. But when phenomena are investigated authentically, that which brings about rising cannot be observed, nor is there anything that rises independently. So now we're talking about more ultimate reality. So these we saw the four logics here, four logics, for natures, for rules, for laws, and that the cause and the condition and the natures are we cannot change. It's the last one is Teba Drabirikpa in Tibetan means logically established. These are all logically established. Now all the causes are there, then the result will be there. All the results are depend on the cause, and then nature itself has fire, water. These are something, and also emptiness is nature. Then means that nature doesn't really change, and but these all has kind of logical reason or logical logic, which means we cannot really defeat or defeat this. So these are important when we learn further. This is a little bit different than what we learn in Madhyamikas. Yeah, Madhyamikas we have logics, but not really talk about nature logics, causal efficacy, that and these all is different, a little bit different.
Well, I guess Madhyamaka would talk about it, but it will disprove all of them.
How to disprove?
It depends on which one you want to disprove, I guess.
How about nature?
You would have to give me a nature of something.
Fire.
What the fire has no nature.
I thought fire can cook things. No?
Yeah, I don't know how to have a debate about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you could say fire never
Well,
have a function of cooking.
well,
Fire,
you pick the hardest one for me. Rangsom Choki Pandita, I think in his introduction to the Mahayana, says that there are actually beings that live in fire, so it must not burn them. So I guess it doesn't have the nature of burning.
yeah, that's true. Some documentary films, if you see the bottom of the ocean floor, there's some lavas or the heats coming over 1,000-degree heat, but many fish and those are enjoy there. So it's that's their house. It's over
Right,
1,000-degree heat.
that's how Rangsom argues against it, but I don't find that argument compelling.
Okay. So anyway, so we go back. And those are four reasons, just more or less the English translation we can deal with here. I don't know. You are English
Well,
speaker.
they seem like laws for how appearances work, let's say.
Laws and
for how the appearances work.
yeah, but nature
They
is
have
not
a
only
they have a
not on, nature is not only talking about the fire and waters, but also emptiness and including
right.
yeah.
I made a chart I think I sent to you, but I think you were busy.
Yeah, sorry, I was totally caught up after the
No,
GBI.
that's fine. I know you were very busy and then you had a conference, but I tried to put these 4 principles together with the 2 truths. I don't know if it would be useful here.
Yeah, okay.
Let me see if I can bring this up. I also put the Tibetan terms in so that you'd be able to read it more easily.
Mhm. Okay.
So
Can you
this may not be correct. I didn't want to introduce it until you had a chance to look at it. Is this visible for everyone?
yeah, I think so, yeah.
So this is the 2 truths over here.
Mhm.
And these are these 4 principles of
Mhm.
reasoning. But the 4th one is over here because it applies to all of them.
Okay. Yeah.
And so these are the different principles.
Uh-huh.
And the only exception I make is that you can't get to actual ultimate reality through proof. So that's blocked out.
Cannot prove.
Through logic. Right? When Mipham says you have the enumerated ultimate and the unenumerated ultimate, and you can't get to the unenumerated ultimate through logic and reasoning.
Yeah, but here is more talking about describing the nature. It's not talking about
Right. That's what I have here.
what we can prove or what we cannot prove.
Or you could say, can you experience the actual ultimate with a reasoning conceptual mind?
Yeah. And yeah, you have the last one as the ultimate nature of a thing are generic ultimate characteristics such as emptiness, selflessness, equality, and these are the what we call
That's what that's this one.
English.
The reasoning of nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's good. And maybe
So is this a proper relationship the way I have this diagrammed?
I don't know. Maybe we don't need these red color things.
Okay, I can get rid of that.
Yeah. So
I
this is,
just like to have a reminder that the ultimate truth we're talking about isn't the actual ultimate truth.
I think these 4 logics are not really talking about logic. So that's why it's Chenru is also noticed that it's describing just nature, how nature acts.
Right. How the world behaves.
Yeah. World and beyond world, kind of. Like when we say so emptiness is beyond concept. So that's what you are saying. But here is we are not talking about the process of it. They're just describing the nature.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay, then we can go back or how
I just
about
want to check in with the time. We've been on for 2 hours, which is fine with me, but I want to make sure everyone else is.
yeah, I'm also thinking, how are you doing?
I'm almost out of energy, but I'm sure other people are fine.
No, I'm
Everyone,
perfectly awake and fine.
I'm with
I'm-
James. I'm running out of energy, but I can hold in there if everyone else wants to keep going.
so yeah, it's once a week, and I a little bit worried that these texts I thought we can go through very fast and then forget about it. But of course, once we talk about, we need to talk about important things. And of course, this text is important. And then my schedule, November 9th is, I cannot teach because I have another teaching I already agreed. Probably most of you know already.
Well, next week is the 2nd.
The second is okay. And
Okay.
then 16th is okay. But then 23rd is it's called AAR conference. And that's just another one. And then 30th, I will be in Los Angeles. That's cannot. And
So
then
for now, we can say we can meet on November 2nd and November 9th.
Not 9th, only 2nd and 16.
Yeah, second and 16. Yeah. So we can go through these texts. Maybe today we do 3 hours. If we need to go to bathroom, maybe 5 minutes and come back
Yeah.
and can
Yeah, that'd be good.
do a few more verses and then. So today is more boring. Maybe it's has a lot of terms that we need to learn. Yeah.
And so I had a question. What is the 9th?
9th is, you say 9th?
Correct. I know we're not meeting, but you said many of us know what's going on.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Kamala is teaching with the Buddhist Institute, so Pema Khandro's group.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. They asked me many months ago. I already now that is approaching now. I noticed that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Kamala, maybe you go get some coffee or tea. I'm gonna pause the recording and see you all back in 5.
And I was thinking that I could share with you 1 minute, maybe. Somewhere I thought.
The book you shared last time was interesting though.
I have another book, but I don't want to. These ones I thought is quite interesting. Since we are just chatting, yeah, chatty people. Okay, read this one, someone.
One of the school of, how to say that?
I think Tlon.
Goes so far as to negate time. It reasons that the present is indefinite, that the future has no reality other than as a present hope, that the past has no reality other than as a present memory. Another school declares that all time has already transpired and that our life is only the James, how to say that word?
Crepuscular.
Thank you. Crepuscular and no doubt falsified and mutilated memory or reflection of an irrecoverable process. Another, that the history of the universe and in it our lives and the most tenuous detail of our lives is the scripture produced by a subordinate God in order to communicate with the demon. Another, that the universe is comparable to those cryptographs in which not all the symbols are valid, and that only what happens every 300 nights is true. Another, that while we sleep here, we are awake elsewhere. And that, sorry, and that includes way every man is too mad.
Okay.
The first view seems most compatible with ours.
Yeah.
There's no present, right? We talked about that last time. We did.
Yeah. So,
Right, that's what this says. The present is indefinite.
yeah.
That's
So,
the Zen perspective.
yeah. So I remember when Sandra said time. So that's one thing. And sorry, that's just sometimes we need to feed our brain with these nonsense things. Okay, go back to nitty-gritty, very detailed terms that we really need to learn. Can you show that lines? Okay. Just so, they have their own causes, effects, and natures. But when phenomena are investigated authentically, that which brings about rising cannot be observed, nor is there anything that arises independently. So this is a more empty aspect we talk about. We probably everyone knows what talking about here. There's no such things called cause and effects, and if we investigate in authentically or in a level detail, then there's no birth and there's no dependence either. Next. Each thing appears with its own identity, yet it's empty by its very nature. Absolute space and threefold liberation are the very nature of ultimate. That's interesting. It's used absolute space. I think in the English we have quite variety on this dharma dhatu, yeah, basic space of phenomena. Now we see absolute space and the realm of reality and so forth. So you can see when you become a great translator, there is a lot of terms you can use if you like. This really means chewing dharma dhatu in here. And here usually it's called this threefold liberation. Threefold liberation means we need to understand these three in order to liberate or attain enlightenment. And these three hold are we have talking about cause and effect and nature. These three we talk about the what cause, what do, cause produce result. Result depend on the cause, and the nature have on rule, yeah. But here, these three are functionless. So that's we talk about, and maybe James, you can list these three in English, maybe. Yeah, So the first one is nature. The nature is ngowo. It's usually you should have ngowo dongbanyi. The nature is emptiness, which we talk about nature. It says by analyzing the nature of phenomena. That means nature is emptiness. And then second one is talking about the cause. There's no sign or no trace, mainly means zemameba. By analyzing phenomena in terms of their cause, regarding the cause. And then the last one is talking about the fruition or the result. So result, there's no mumba meba. Mumba meba means there's no sort of hope or wish that you can attain. There's nothing will attain, and there's nothing that we are not coming from anywhere because there's no signs of any cause. We are not going anywhere. There's no hope to be anything. And then we are not standing in anything. There's nothing. Nature has nothing. So mainly means this talking about the past, present, and future as well. So this is called these three, almost like three doors of liberation, or the three things. And Tibetan has a little bit shorted here that didn't emphasize the nature and cause and the result, but James, you put it, so that's because we talk about these four logics, four reasons, four natures, what they do. The cause produce result, and result depend on the cause, and nature has fire, has heat, and so forth. But then comes to this reality, then it's nothing there. In order to become enlightenment, then we need to understand nothingness rather than something. Because something is easy, we are relying on something that we think something exists here. Is everyone's comfortable with nothingness? And each thing appears with its own identity, yet it's empty by its very nature. Absolute space dharma that with threefold liberation, the very nature of the ultimate. And then next one, how something functions, how its depends are not aspect of its particular nature. So it is within the thing's nature that reasoning ends, and it would be futile to inquire any further. It is with the thing's nature it ends, and it would not be. Is that English works here without negation?
I think it's correct.
Okay. What does that mean?
It means that once you've gotten to a thing's nature, there's no point in applying any further logical reasoning.
Oh, okay. That you are reading the second one. Second one says that, yeah.
Well, I hope it does, but I wasn't reading the second one.
Oh, okay. Don't cheat, okay? Mhm.
Yes, sir.
So we talked about this earlier, something the function means the cause, the depends means result, depend on. And then we talk about both of these particular natures that have. So that's logic ends in with it. So means that's nature, what we are talking about. Is logic or nature or that is the same. Okay, next one. These kind of evaluations things and their nature according to each of the two levels of reality. It's proved by basic fact of how things are. So it is reasoning that establish what is tenable. And now we are talking about this the fourth reason because the cause and the result and nature, and these all logics are ends to the nature. Means it's just nature. Yeah. Okay. And how things appear or how they ultimately abide can be known through the perceiving their nature directly, or it can be inferred unerringly based on something else which is clearly apparent. So this is early we talk about how things appear and how they are ultimately abide. So these two are the important part of that. What how appears sometimes, that's also how they ultimately abide. So that is the different category that Mipham Rinpoche used to describe things, and that's an important part of it. And there is two types of valid cognitions. So one is direct perception, and one is inference. And these both can be reliable. And next one. Direct perception itself is of four kinds: unmistaken sensory, mental, self-awareness, and yogic, all of which are non-conceptual, since their objects appears specific characteristics. So when we talk about direct perception, so it's important. It's especially when we talk about practitioners, yogic sort of direct perception, which is need to gain through meditation. And also when we meditate on looking at our mind nature, it should be direct perception. It's not, should not be inference, yeah. And when we talk about all this practice that sensory or experience, that is also related. So direct perception is sort of should be main practice in here. What do you mean, James? Is intuition alaya?
Oh, no. So Sandra had a question. She was asking, would intuitive ways of knowing be considered valid? Does it fall under direct perception? How do you classify omniscience? And I was just asking James to confirm if intuition or this gut feeling is more of an alaya.
Yeah, as James.
Well, Kempo, since they have you now, then there's no need for, you don't have to ask the math teacher when the calculus teacher is available.
The the valid means validity is totally rely on the base on objects here. If you measure correctly the objects, that's the kind of measurement that valid means more like measured. And
Right, but intuition means you know, but you didn't have a chance to measure. You know it somehow.
intuition is or you assume you know.
You think you know. It
Yeah,
feels to you like you know.
that's different. Yeah,
Right.
that's why I'm saying is your measurement is correct or not. That does depend on whether valid or not. Not the.
Sure.
But intuition is more. Seems like it doesn't really core. I think valid because it's not going through the logic.
It won't meet the 3 rules.
Yeah. And it's not really direct perception because it's intuition means you are
Conceptual
something.
mind.
Yeah. And however, of course, it's not always we need to be 100% right. Yeah, we need to practice this more kind of confidence to gain in the territory rather than measuring everything first to gain in that way.
Yeah, Sandra, as far as your second question, I don't think you can classify omniscience. I think that's the total category.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't read the chats, so it's difficult to read. Let me know if anyone maybe if missing something. I'm just not ignoring, but
No, I think Chanru is managing it. I think Harry has a question.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, can you talk about what direct perception of self-awareness is?
Yeah, this is another important part because self-awareness is we all talk about Rigpa, yeah, in a Dzogchen Mahamudra or practice. But this Rigpa is coming from Pramana tradition and Indian tradition. How this self-awareness or reflexive awareness, sometimes people use this because we all know we are knowing something. We look at some objects, we think we know. But that knowing gain confidence in us. We don't need to ask others to validate or to prove that we have confidence. So that's is showing that our mind has two functions. We look outwardly, we see things. Inwardly, we know. So that's called the self-awareness, which is sometimes used as a lamp that can illuminate itself and also can illuminate the darkness. But that's another major kind of opponent's view by Madhyamakas, but so far we just accept that as our mind has this function of knowing mind itself. So that's called self-awareness, which is it's direct perception because it's not going through logic. We don't need to go through logic to say whether because of that, I know this or not. No, it's directly registered in our mind. So that's a self-awareness.
Does that mean like the mind's ability to know or know itself?
Yes, both. Mind has ability to know itself and also, no.
Thank you, Kampola. And I'm putting a link to a YouTube video in the chat. In this previous recording of a Q&A that Kampola held, we kind of touched on this self-knowing mind. So if you're interested, you can also look at the video. And I will share this in the group email later too. Thank you. And John, you had a question too?
No, I'm just wondering about the omniscience as a yogic direct perception. Would it fall under that category or just?
Yes, omniscient goes with that, but also the self-awareness means any mind would have this self-aware quality, yeah. So which means if we treat Buddha has mind, then that would be also self-aware. That's the difficult part is sometimes in Tibetan Buddhism, when we say mind, then especially Dzogchen, mind means a concept. Then Buddha would not have concept. So it's difficult to say in English, we say Buddha mind, but Buddha may don't have mind. But that's the most difficult part in the language, different language thing. And then if English would be bad, that mindless Buddha would not work well, I think. But then people understand like robots and so forth. But it's sort of beyond mind thing in a sense. But still, that's why in the Dzogchen pick up, Dzogchen and Mahamudra pick up this Rigpa, self-awareness is maintained, that you don't really need to, this could be beyond concept, this self-aware is, yeah.
When we were in Arizona, you also corrected the translation of the prayer. You made a distinction of the ordinary mind and intellect. Maybe you can say a little bit about that and what does ordinary mean in the Dzogchen context?
The ordinary mind, especially the Hamalji which is the Mahamudra tradition, the term used a lot. Tamarjishepa means without any fabrication of the really bare, basic, unfabricated mind in a Tibetan sense. And the translation would be what they say, really basic.
Trungpa translated it as ordinary mind, but he's using it in the sense of unmodified.
Yeah.
Our texts would have something else. We remember that use both, I think, Rigpa and, but now I don't, there's two ordinary
In the same verse, right?
verse use.
I have that. It says the actual nature as it is beyond the ordinary mind is obscured by tainted notions of view and meditation. In true ordinariness, there is neither theory nor practice. May we naturally remain in the genuine condition. And you kind of talked, you kind of briefly, because I think because you were translating, you didn't have time to go into it. Like, because the first line, like beyond the ordinary mind, it should be beyond the conceptual mind or beyond the intellect.
Yeah, that's because if not, then these two ordinaries comes together. Since one is good, one is bad, then we talk a little. You point out that, and so up to you. So sometimes very kind of unremarkable terms that makes more profound than other things. Similarly, Mahamudra, you can use ordinary mind. It means basic. So Dzogchen Rigpa is similar, that awareness itself.
And-
But you're saying similar, so they're not direct equivalents?
Rigpa and ordinary mind.
Samogi Shepa.
It's not exactly, I think,
Not exactly. Okay.
because Mahamudra also used Rigpa as well. But Tamerji Shepa is their kind of special term.
Mhm.
And there's, I mean, we can talk more about this later maybe, but the function of Rigpa is there's another question is what is the difference between in the Dzogchen tradition, Gnosis and Rigpa, and so forth. So it's there's some distinctions, but mainly similar, but a little bit different. Okay.
Sorry, before we move on, I just wanted to add in the same prayer that we learned in Arizona, 2 verses down from the verse that we were just talking about, it kind of had the same similar issue. It says, directly seeing what transcends the ordinary mind, Rigpa's radiance that's not conceptually confined. Without binding the sky in the rope of conjecture, let us master the genuine state of natural rest. I believe ordinary mind does not need to be transcended. Probably is saying directly seeing what transcends the intellect.
Conceptual.
What verse is that?
2 verses down from the verse that we were just talking about.
No, number. What number? Verse number.
Oh, the copy I have doesn't have a number. James, can you?
Oh,
I'm working on it.
Everything. Directly seeing what transcends the ordinary mind.
oh yeah, yes. It's 14, verse 14. But here again, we don't have Tamerji Shepa a term. The problem is
So what's to be transcended?
to be septimachu Rigpitam. Directly seeing. So these lines are, the first line is second line in English, in the Tibetan. This is switched line, and these to be septimachu Rigpitam. The radiance that not conceptually confined, directly seeing that transcend the ordinary mind. So that's the Rigpa's radiance of Rigpa, that directly transcend the conceptual mind.
Got it. So it is the intellect. Thank you.
To be septimachu. So here, ordinary, they don't have ordinary here, but they use ordinary in English. So
It's not low.
Which one?
Is it this, what they're translating is ordinary mind, is that low here?
Yeah,
Okay,
or maybe even the Yiju, which I translate conceptual analysis, all of you reject that and somehow need to say, I forcefully mean to change that. Now I'm trying to say conceptualization. That's
James was forceful. I was not.
yeah. So anyway,
I don't have the energy to be forceful.
yeah, that's Yiju is here.
Yichu, I think they translate as conjecture. It's the Yichuki Shakpa, the lasso of conceptual fabrication, the rope of conjecture.
Interesting.
Oh, okay, goes down there. Okay, yes, yeah. Yeah, lower makes sense beyond intellect. Yeah, ordinary mind.
Carrie, you
Yes.
have a, oh, sorry, Kampala.
Carrie?
Yeah, can you say something about the difference between low as opposed to like Sim, Yi, Namshe?
Yes, these are
Yeah.
sometimes translators law often translate as intellect. These are synonym to mind, means mind or consciousness. And then Namshi often translate as consciousness because consciousness can transmigrate to take rebirth and often use a Namshi going through Pardo and next life and so forth. That's a small consciousness. And then Yi is it's very difficult to translate, whether called mind or, but due to the Sanskrit manas, English, I see people translate meditation. So the meditation is kind of when we call so mental consciousness. What does that mean? Mental consciousness. There is mental and also consciousness. Means nothing to rely on the sense faculties, is relying on the mental faculty, that consciousness that rely on mental consciousness. Mental faculty is that's called mental consciousness, but it's mainly mentation. And then Sam is often used mind. Then we have Shepa again. Shepa is cognizer or something. And then Rigpa is awareness. And so there's a lot of things to learn in the terms, but so far.
Yes, that's helpful. Thank you. But the only one I didn't really understand was low.
Yeah, intellect.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thought stands concept. Oh, yeah. But there's a lot of things, a lot of terms. Okay, we have only 2 minutes. Hope it's worth to hanging around on Zoom today. If not, then you are not obligated to hang around. Okay.
Oh, I can do this every day. What are you talking about?
Yeah. We do this for dedication. No, anyway, thank you for hanging around and hopefully finish this text soon and then move on. Maybe Vajra verses first because one person is asking to teach that. So I'm happy to to go through Vajra verses. Vajra verse, if anyone don't know Vajra verses, it's on where this is the Vajra verses, what we have small book from GBI this time and printed in here. And so, yeah. So we don't know when, but once we finish this text, okay? Zonam de ye tam je sukba nye tam ne ye pe dranam tam shed je ga nan je bang chokpa ye ziben solen do wa terwar vi sho. Okay. I
Thank,
see, Damien,
thank you.
a new home?
Not yet. I'm in the car. I spent the evening packing the car and but we moved in yesterday. We closed on the house last week, so it's been a really hectic couple of weeks.
Uh-huh. So hope Floridians are doing okay. I was there right before.
Yeah, you left right before Hurricane Milton.
Yeah, I left. I was TBI. We have no rain at all.
Well, thank you very much, Kempo. It was really great to see you
Okay.
and see you soon.
Yeah. Zodi, are you late there or early? I don't know. What time are you?
Same time as in Florida.
Oh, okay. That's not too
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
not too bad.
yeah. The rest of us in oh, maybe Carrie, where are you from? Zooming from.
I'm in New York, upstate New York.
Oh, okay, okay. We are in almost same zone.
Yeah.
It's
Where
different.
are you?
Can you say one more?
Oh yeah, where are you right now?
I'm in California, Berkeley,
Oh, okay.
San Francisco area. Yeah. Few of us in the West Coast, few of you in the East Coast. Oh, we have one from Hawaii, a little bit further, earlier there, yeah. 6 hour or 3 hour earlier?
3 hours from you. 2 o'clock
Oh,
here. Yeah.
okay.
Well, Kimpo, it looks like I have plans to come. I'll message you my dates. I'll be in Berkeley in a few weeks.
Okay, yeah. Okay, everyone, thank you. And where are you, Eric? In Florida?
Florida.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Then I kind of know everyone where you are. Okay. See you next Saturday, yeah?
Good
Take
night. Thank you.
Yes.
Don't
care,
miss
Thank
the,
you.
don't miss the
Thank you.
class. A very important class.
Thank you, Kampola.